Hello and welcome to another episode of today's GK. I am Pooja Divedi, and in this segment we bring to you objective questions on a daily basis to help you crack prelims. So let's begin with the practice question of last segment. Fordo fuel enrichment plant recently in the news is located in which of the following countries? Iran, Azerbaijan, Lebanon or Israel? So most of you have answered it correctly in the comment segment. The correct answer for this question is A, that is Iran. Moving on to the explanation. According to satellite images, Iran has begun construction on a site at its underground nuclear facility at Fordo amid tensions with the US over its atomic program. Fordo fuel enrichment plant is an Iranian underground uranium enrichment facility located 20 miles northeast of the Iranian city of Qom, near Fordo village. It is the second Iranian uranium enrichment facility, the other one being at Natanz. So if you look at this particular map, you can see that Natanz is here and here lies Fordo, right? So what does it say? While the purpose of the building remains unclear, any work at Fordo will likely trigger new concern in the waning days of the Trump administration before the inauguration of the US President-elect Joe Biden. So, if we talk about this particular facility, it is creating tensions because under the Trump administration, the US had very tense relationship with Iran, and as Trump's administration is waning away, is fading away, and newly elected president is coming into being, what is happening? Again, the tensions are on the rise. So if we talk about uranium, the highest reserves of uranium is situated in Kazakhstan, and last year India has renewed its supply of uranium because 80% of the uranium supply for India comes through Kazakhstan. So please remember, highest reserve of uranium is in which country in the world? Kazakhstan, right? Moving on. Let's look at the first question for today's segment. Consider the following martial arts, and you have to match them with the state they have either originated or found in: Gatka, Punjab; Kalaripayattu, Kerala; Thangta, Nagaland. Which of the above pairs is or are correctly matched? A1 only, B2 only, C1 and 2 only, D 2 and 3 only. The correct answer for this question is C, that is 1 and 2 only. Moving on to the explanation, the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports has recently included Gatka, Kalaripayattu, Thangta and Mallakhamba in Khelo India Youth Games of 2021. They are scheduled to take place in Haryana. So why is there a necessity for such a step? Because these are cultural heritage or intangible cultural heritage of human beings. So these all martial arts and every kind of other artistic cultures should be preserved in order to make them actually see India as a country of very diverse nature. That is why it is needed. Okay, and Gatka, if we talk about, it originates from the state of Punjab, and this traditional fighting style of the Nihang Sikh warriors is used both as self-defense as well as a sport. So Nihang were in news this year. I hope you know for what reason. Gatka is believed to have originated when the 6th Sikh Guru Hargobind adopted Kirpan for self-defense during the Mughal era. And if we talk about Kalaripayattu, also known simply as Kalari, is an Indian martial art that originated in modern-day Kerala. It is believed to be the oldest surviving martial art in India. Please keep this in mind. Oldest surviving martial art in India, Kalaripayattu, right? And it is also considered to be among the oldest martial arts still in existence, with its origin in the martial arts timeline dating back to at least the 3rd century BCE. The place where this martial art is practiced is called a Kalari. It is a Malayalam word that signifies a kind of gymnasium. If we talk about Thangta, Huan Langlon is an Indian martial art from Manipur. In the Meiteis language, Huan means war, while Langlon or Langlon can mean net, knowledge or art, right? And Huon Langlon consists of two main components, Thangta, which means armed combat, that means using some kind of weapon, and Sarit Sarak, that is unarmed fighting without any arms or weapons. The primary weapons of Huon Langlon are the Thang, that is the sword, and Ta, that is the spear. Other weapons are the shield and the axe. Let's look at the next question. Consider the following statements about recognition of prior learning. It aims to align the competencies of the unregulated workforce of the country to the standardized national skills qualification framework. It enhances the employability opportunities of an individual as well as provide alternative routes to higher education. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? A1 only, B2 only, C both 1 and 2, D neither 1 nor 2. The correct answer for this question is C, that is both 1 and 2, both the first and the second, both the statements are correct. Moving on to the explanation. Skill India undertakes recognition of prior learning for workers under Department of Panchayati Raj in Chandauli and Varanasi. If we talk about recognition of prior learning, commonly it is known as RPL, and it largely refers to an assessment process used to evaluate a person's existing skill sets, knowledge and experience gained under formal, non-formal and informal learning. So it is a process which takes into account what a person has in terms of skill, experience or knowledge through formal, that is through the education, the formal education that we all get, non-formal, that means from a more lenient surrounding, the familial surrounding, the surrounding of friends. So this takes into account all these kind of knowledge acquired through these means, right? Also, RPL under Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana from 2016 to 20 primarily has threefold objectives. It aims to align the competencies of the unregulated workforce of the country to the standardized national skills qualification framework to enhance the employability opportunities of an individual as well as provide alternative routes to higher education, right? Also, to provide opportunities for reducing inequalities based on privileging certain forms of knowledge over others. Alright, moving on, let's look at the next question. Consider the following: Sionath, Hasdeo, Mand, Pranhita, Jonking, Manjira. Which of the following rivers is or are tributaries of Mahanadi? Select the correct options from codes given below: 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3 and 5, 3, 4, 5 and 6 and all of the above. The correct answer for this question is B, that is 1, 2, 3 and 5. That is Sionath, Hasdeo, Mand and Jonking. These are the tributaries of Mahanadi. So I hope you know the difference between tributaries and distributaries of a river. Tributaries are those rivers which are bringing water to the principal river, alright, and distributaries are those rivers which are taking away water from the principal river to different places. Alright, so let's move on to the explanation. The explanation says, the National Green Tribunal has constituted a high-level committee to identify floodplain zones of the Mahanadi. The Mahanadi river system is the third largest of peninsular India after Godavari and Krishna, and it is the largest river of Odisha state. The source of origin of the Mahanadi river, it rises from a place near Sihava in Bastar Hills in the state of Chhattisgarh to the south of Amarkantak. If we talk about major tributaries of the Mahanadi river, let's talk about them: Sionath, Hasdeo, Mand, Ip, Jonking and Tel. Pranhita and Manjira are tributaries of Godavari and not Mahanadi. From the prelims perspective, also remember which tributaries are left bank tributaries and which tributaries are right bank tributaries, because it could be asked in the prelims in that sense, or the west flowing or the east flowing, like the north to south arrangement you have to do, or the east to west arrangement, something like that could be framed. So please remember that. Alright, moving on. Eluru recently seen in the news, is located in which of the following states? Telangana, Karnataka, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh. The correct answer for this question is D, that is Andhra Pradesh. So, Eluru illness, this mysterious illness, that is why this question has been asked. The Andhra Pradesh government has requested the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, AIIMS, New Delhi, and the Indian Institute of Chemical Technology, IICT in Hyderabad, to conduct a long-term study to determine the causes of the mystery illness in Eluru in West Godavari district. So, if we talk about this particular illness, it has symptoms which is similar to epilepsy, such as nausea, convulsions, vomiting, headache. So, this is being called a mysterious illness because why is it happening? That is not known yet, not very conclusively, right? And over 70% of Eluru town in Andhra Pradesh's West Godavari district has been affected by a mysterious illness. And scientists, they suspect that pesticide or insecticide has seeped into drinking water sources. So, in excessive use of pesticides and excessive use of insecticides may have seeped or got into the water, and that has been consumed by the people of Eluru, and that is why this particular illness is there. And this is just a suspect right now, it's not conclusive. Alright, and also Eluru receives water through canals from both Godavari and Krishna rivers. The canals pass through agricultural fields where runoff laced with pesticides mixes with water in the canals. So this could be one of so many reasons that we need organic farming, right? Moving on. With reference to Shigella infection, consider the following statements. It is a contagious intestinal infection caused by a virus. It takes a small number of Shigella to enter a person's system and get her sick. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? A1 only, B2 only, C both 1 and 2, D neither 1 nor 2. The correct answer for this question is B, that is 2 only the second statement is correct. Health officials in Kozhikode district of Kerala convened emergency meetings and kicked in preventive measures last week after 6 cases of Shigella infection and nearly 24 suspected cases were detected within the urban corporation limits. So, Shigellosis or Shigella infection is a contagious, that means it can spread, intestinal infection caused by a genus of bacteria known as Shigella. The bacteria is one of the prime pathogens responsible for causing diarrhea fluctuating between moderate and severe symptoms, especially in children in African and South Asian regions. The bacteria, after entering the body through ingestion, that means through consumption, attacks the epithelial lining of the colon, resulting in inflammation of the cells and subsequently the destruction of the cell in severe cases. It takes only a small number of Shigella bacteria to enter a person's system and get her sick, right? Let's move on to the next question. He was drawn towards revolutionary activities, being inspired by a series of public lectures given by Sri Aurobindo and Sister Nivedita. At the age of 15, he joined the Anushilan Samiti, an early 20th century organization that propounded revolutionary activities in Bengal. Within a year, he had learned how to make bombs and would plant them in front of police stations. The deciding moment of his life came in 1908 when he, along with another revolutionary, Prafulla Chaki, were assigned the task of assassinating the district magistrate of Muzaffarpur, that is King's Fort. Identify the revolutionary leader. Ras Bihari Bose, Sachidanand Sanyal, Rash Bihari Bose, Sachindra Nath Sanyal, Ashwini Dutt or Khudiram Bose. The correct answer for this question is D, that is Khudiram Bose. Let's look at the explanation. Union Home Minister, Amit Shah visited the native village of Bengali revolutionary Khudiram Bose in Midnapur of West Bengal. One of the youngest leaders of the independence movement, Bose is highly regarded in Bengal for his fearless spirit. He is most remembered for his attempt to assassinate the British judge, Magistrate Douglas Kingsford, which ultimately led him to be sentenced to death at the young age of 18. Kingsford's tortuous clamping down on revolutionaries had earned him the ire of this young group of nationalists who decided to hurl a bomb on him. Bose threw a bomb on a carriage which he suspected was carrying Kingsford, but it turned out that it was carrying the wife and daughter of a barrister named Pringle Kennedy, who lost their lives as Kingsford escaped. Now let's look at the next question. Consider the following statements about the Astra missile. It is indigenously developed first beyond visual range missile, and the missile has a range of 500 km and has all-weather day and night capability. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? A1 only, B2 only, C both 1 and 2, D neither 1 nor 2. The correct answer for this question is A, that is 1 only. Let's look at the explanation, please. So, Defense Minister has handed over 3 indigenously developed Defense Research and Development Organization systems to Army, Navy and Air Force. So, this includes the Astra missile. The Astra Mark 1 is the indigenously developed first beyond visual range missile. The missile has been developed by the Defense Research and Development Organization. So, this is a big step towards Atmanirbhar Bharat in the defense sector. India needs to be very robust when it comes to developing its own indigenous systems, as we are living in a very insecure and uncertain world right now. Contemporary world is extremely potential to volatility. That is why we need to be well aware of our own capabilities when it comes to developing indigenous systems in terms of defense. Alright, so moving on. It can be launched from Sukhoi 30 light combat aircraft, MiG-29 and MiG-29K. With a 15 kg high explosive pre-fragmented warhead, Astra has a range of over 70 km and can fly towards its target at a speed of over 5,555 km per hour. You can imagine the speed of it now. The missile has all-weather day and night capabilities. Let's look at the next question. Joint Air Force exercise Shaheen-IX is conducted between which of the following countries? India and Nepal, China and Pakistan, China and Russia, India and Sri Lanka. The correct answer for this question is B, that is China and Pakistan. Moving on to the explanation, the Air Forces of China and Pakistan are holding their annual exercises Shaheen-IX. Shaheen-IX is the 9th in the series of joint air exercises which is conducted each year in both countries on alternate basis. The first such drill was held in Pakistan in the year 2011. Let's look at the next question, please. With reference to the Northeastern Region Power System Improvement Project, consider the following statements. It aims to strengthen the intra-state transmission and distribution infrastructure in the Northeastern region. It is being funded with the assistance of the World Bank Fund. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? A1 only, B2 only, C both 1 and 2, D neither 1 nor 2. The correct answer for this question is C, that is both 1 and 2, both the statements are correct. The Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs has approved the revised cost estimate of Northeastern Region Power System Improvement Project. The scheme was initially approved in December 2014 as a central sector plan scheme of Ministry of Power. Its objective is the total economic development of the Northeastern region and to strengthen the interstate transmission and distribution infrastructure in the Northeastern region. So if we talk about the Northeastern region is the gateway to the East and it's very important for India's Act East and Look East policy. And if we talk about rising China's offensive and volatile Myanmar region, we need to strengthen the northeast region right now the most. So that is why more projects should come, and these projects should be executed as soon as possible in order to strengthen the economic development. Because if the economic development of this particular region is ensured, what will happen? The insurgents and other separatist activists and separatist element will also go out of the picture, right? So that is why we need such kind of projects more. It is being funded with the assistance of the World Bank Fund and by the Government of India through the budget support of the Ministry of Power on 50:50 basis. That means World Bank has a share of 50 and Government of India also has the share of the same. Except for the capacity building component of rupees 89 crore, which will be entirely funded by the Government of India. It is now targeted to be commissioned by December 2021. The scheme is being implemented through Power Grid, which is a public sector undertaking under the Ministry of Power in association with 6 beneficiary northeastern states, namely Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland and Tripura. Moving on, consider the following statements about the Human Freedom Index 2020. It is released annually by the World Economic Forum. It presents the state of human freedom on a scale of 0 to 10, where 0 represents more freedom. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? A1 only, B2 only, C both 1 and 2, D neither 1 nor 2. The correct answer for this question is D, that is neither 1 nor 2. The Human Freedom Index of 2020 was recently released by the Cato Institute in the United States and Fraser Institute in Canada. It presents the state of human freedom in the world that encompasses personal, civil and economic freedom. Keep these 3 words in mind, these 3 criteria in mind. It could be asked in the prelims, personal, civil and social. No, it's personal, civil and economic. Okay? And the index presents a broad measure of human freedom understood as the absence of coercive constraint on a scale of 0 to 10, where 10 represents more freedom and not 0. So if we talk about India, India has scored below the average of 162 countries. India scored 6.43. When the average, if we talk about it, 6.93. Alright, so India has not fared very well in this. And we will talk about the rank of other countries as well. Let's look at them. It noted a decrease in personal freedom since 2008 globally and also finds a strong relationship between human freedom and democracy. New Zealand was ranked 1 in the index, followed by Switzerland and Hong Kong. It placed India at the 111th spot out of 162 countries. So India has done better than its neighbors like China, Bangladesh and as well as Pakistan. But it has done worse than Bhutan, Sri Lanka and Nepal. Okay, remember these countries' names. Moving on, let's look at the practice question for our next segment. With reference to the project Loon, consider the following statements. It is a network of helium-filled balloons that aim to deliver internet access to remote parts of the world. The project has been initiated by the International Organization for Standardization to bridge the digital divide. What is digital divide? Digital divide means a section of people having lot of digital literacy and access to digital mediums, and the division between that particular group and the other group having no or very low digital accessibility and digital literacy. That is known as digital divide. Okay, if we look at the options, which of the statements given above is or are correct? A1 only, B2 only, C both 1 and 2, D neither 1 nor 2. So I hope you will be able to answer it correctly in the comment segment. I'll be waiting for the answer. Thank you so much for watching. Tomorrow we shall meet again. Until then, stay updated.